Oh no, yes, no, I'm definitely a lot happier than I was uh, back then. Even my sister said the same to me the other day. She says that um, I'm very energetic. I'm back to the normal self, the normal, like the little kid that I was, the crazy little kid that I was. She's like, I recognize you again. And all I can say is I think it's because I finally get to live a life in who I really am as a person. And I think that's why I'm a lot happier and just doing my own thing really. So yeah, I'm very happy compared to how I was in school. That I can agree with. So actually, Cailin comes from my aunt. My aunt would have named me Cailin if I was a boy, because my mom made it someone else's mission to name me because she didn't want us to carry on with family names. But Cailin means warrior, so there's nothing really like deep about it. But she just felt like the life that I would live would just be one that wouldn't be easy. That's something she saw, but she felt like I would be able to push through. So she always saw me as a little warrior, even as I was growing up. So she would always refer to me as. So that's just the meaning behind my name. And yeah, my surname's Henika. Yeah, that's it. I was born and raised in Bloemfontein. Uh, we yeah, as I said, I was born and raised here. I went to St. Michael's from grade naught until my matric year. Prior to the time I went to Smiley Kids, the preschool, I grew up with two siblings. I have a middle brother and an oldest sister, Philip, George, and STK. And currently my brother's a doctor and my sister's an accountant. And as I said, I was at St. Michael's. I went to university at UFS, and now I am where I am now. Don't know what else to say. Currently now what I'm doing is I'm just sitting at home now and just helping around the house. I help my dad with his law firm part-time, but now he moved to Cape Town to go work there, so now I just help my mom around the house. I'm not sure if this is going to be something that should be added to the thing, but my mom is also a MS patient, multiple sclerosis. So yeah, that hasn't been easy for us as we get older, but yeah, she got diagnosed in 2013. My brother just got into matric, I think, and I was just finished grade 8. Yeah, I think he just finished school. So yeah. And both my parents come from the Western Cape. My mom's from George and my dad is from Grabo. Yeah. I wanted to become a psychologist, if I have to be completely honest with you. But after my dad took me under his wing with his law stuff, I figured that maybe another direction should be law. I mean, I got to work with cases and I got to see the things that people go through. It's very gruesome. It's not something that they deserve to go through, and especially not being able to like feeling helpless. Especially since most of the cases my dad was working on were divorce cases, and it was like abused clients and whatnot. It made me feel like I was at a point in my life where I was helpless growing up, trying to discover who I am. That I felt like, you know what, they shouldn't deserve that. I mean, we should all have someone who is able to voice for us, no matter how difficult it is. So right now the end goal is for me to study law and to help my dad open up a law firm in Gauteng. So yeah, that's the end goal. This is a it's pretty, like, I don't know, like, yeah, everybody has their beliefs. I would say that I believe there is a higher power. I believe there is a higher power because, I mean, when you surround yourself with different people, you kind of hear their views on religion and whatnot. And I would say I'm agnostic. I do believe there's a higher power. I also believe everything you put out there comes back to you, whether it's good or bad. So yeah, that's what I believe in. Yo, there's actually quite a lot of moments that I've actually experienced growing up. I mean, I don't mind getting this out there because I mean, it is my story, but I am a victim of assault. So that kind of did shape me as who I am today. Also, just like a lot of family stuff that has happened between my parents and my siblings and whatnot that has shaped us as who we are today, especially me. And then obviously, I mean, we all get our heart broken once by someone that we truly love. So that kind of shapes us into the person who we really are. And I think that's how we really discover who we are as a person, because they introduce you to all these experiences and whatnot. But yeah. It was just, the person was one of it was like a family friend, someone that I grew up with. It was, his stepdad was actually one of my dad's best friends, and they were staying with us at the time, and we stayed in universitas. So obviously you would never think that a child that you've grown up with from like the age of 8 until your high school years would ever take advantage of you like that. But I mean, when I spoke to my brother's ex-girlfriend's mom, she kind of explained to me that sometimes, because she's also a victim of assault herself, and she told me that sometimes people do the things that they do because they either don't get it from the right motivation or upbringing because of the household. She was trying to say, I'm not trying to justify it, but everybody's actions is always caused by the past or something. So it happened with a childhood friend. It happened twice. I mean, I have came forward to my parents about it, and from there it's just been a everyday healing process, really. I mean, I'm better than I was in high school when it happened. So yeah, just move forward. I identify as transgender, so F to M, female to male. Yeah, so I don't know, like, I'm interested in women, so I would say I'm a heterosexual male, if you have to put it in those terms, because it's a very broad topic, transgenderism, if I can put it that way. Because yes, you identify as a man, but you also have like the sexuality part that you also have to put into consideration. So even though you are identifying as a man, you can still identify as a bisexual man. But I'd see myself as a man. Yeah. Yeah. So I was actually being told this actually by, friends of mine. They actually asked me like, are you sure you identify as trans and not just as a lesbian? And I was like to them, you wouldn't really understand it until you've experienced it yourself. The feeling that you just constantly feel uncomfortable in who you are as a person, no matter what you do to make yourself feel right. It's just that gender dysphoria plays a big role in that. And even when I was talking to one of my other friends who are trans, said that he first came out as lesbian to see if that's what he's happy identifying as. And then he kind of told me, he realized he's not a lesbian really, he's transgender. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand, that it's a very conflicting battle with yourself. Because I mean, you already go out into a public area where people are trying to put you in a box that you know you don't belong in. And, you know, constantly having to fight like these thoughts and like having to look a certain way in a physical appearance just to seem like you fit the standard of a man in today's society. So I still don't understand like the relation between the two. I'm still trying to learn that myself, but yeah. Sorry, what was the question again? Oh, I think it has something more to do with your physical being and whatnot, and how your body also aligns. And I just feel like it's also something to just do with your soul as well. Like everything just feels out of place because, like I said, already from a young age, my mind was already curious. It was curious as to why I was always wearing like tomboy clothes. My mom used to fight with my dad on a Sunday, telling him like, please tell the child to wear a dress. And my dad was like, but the child is the happiest in pants and sneakers. Like, screw the norms of church. Like, let our child be happy, you know. And it's already like from a young age, I just knew something was just out of place. Something was just out of place. And I always tell the story to people, but I remember the one time, you know, when you're a kid, you just watch stuff on shows. So when you see a shooting star on like a movie, their wish normally comes true the next day. So I saw a shooting star for the first time after church. I think it was like Christmas Eve. And I just remember just asking like, you know, I would really love to wake up as a boy the next day. And then as the years went on, the thought like slowly disappeared, but it was still always at the back of my head. And then it got too difficult for me to fight it and just to keep it to myself, that I actually came out to one of my friends in high school, Karishini. I actually came out to her, but I was like very beating around the bush. I was like, would you have a problem with me being, you know, identifying as this and that? Because for so many years, I'm just struggling to accept myself for who I am because I know I'm not happy like this. Then she told me like, I can see that. And she told me I'll love you regardless, no matter what. And even my sister knew from a young age as well. She was like, something's not right here with this one. And same with my brother as well. He was like, something's just not right here. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it came and go in like stages. So if I may explain, like I said, like when I was younger, I already knew, like I was like, nah, something's not like her. Then, but obviously, you know how parents and people normally shut down a child's like identity very fast because they old school, they believe certain things, they're not really willing to adapt to new changes or new things. So I just kept it to myself and I just carried on whatnot. Then I remember in high school, I went on YouTube and I actually saw quite a few documentaries where people, like, I don't want to, like, they had the privilege of having parents who were supportive. And they were kids like from overseas who already knew at the age of 5 that they were born in the wrong body as it is. But their parents gave them the privilege of having that like ability to express themselves like that. And the fact that it's actually a lot common than what you think, the fact that kids already from a young age are already questioning the things around them and what they actually like and whatnot. So, I mean, I knew from a young age, but I think in high school, that's dead certain when I knew that, yeah, I identify as a transgender. And then over the years, I just slowly started coming out. I wouldn't say it's a choice. I don't think it's a choice because everybody has different experiences. Like, I think, yes, it could be a choice to some people, but I don't think it's a choice because I don't think the everyday battle you have to go through and whatnot. And also, I feel like life would be a lot less easier if it was just simply as a yes or no. Because I actually remember, when I was still in school and I went to St. James, was this one boy who was busy shaming one of our friends for being gay. Now, obviously, I haven't been out and about because, I mean, you get people like that who think like that and will just shut you down immediately. And he told me that being gay is a choice. And I was like, you know what, I wish it's as easy as you saying that, because, I mean, he does not ask to go every day to go to school to get bullied and to sit alone in a bathroom stall crying his lungs out and being called, you know, nasty slurs and whatnot. Sometimes it is who you are. And I mean, he tried to explain to me how is it a choice, but I was like, I just believe sometimes it is who we are as a person. I don't think it was the trauma, no, because I was already having those thoughts before it all started. So I do agree that they say that sometimes trauma plays a role in sometimes how people decide to discover themselves. But sometimes trauma can like also be the reason that almost like encourages it in that sense, if I mean like what's it called, like a woman will molest a boy and then he will just only want to go after women, but you can see how it affects him in the long run, because maybe he just wants to mistreat women, because it also depends on how you handle the trauma as well, because some people just let it sit inside of them and just fester up and just eat them up, that they end up becoming bitter and whatnot, if that makes sense. But I also believe that because of some trauma, like some people will say that they have been assaulted by a gay man, so then that's where the hatred for gay men come, even though not all gay men are the same. But yeah, I think it also creates a lot of like a biased opinion on everyone. I'm planning to. It's just that what's it called? Some parents really aren't really the greatest support systems, if that makes sense. So, like I said, I normally seek my support from my sister and my brother and my brother-in-law. So I'm very thankful for that, really. I'm very thankful for that. And the socially part, should I elaborate? We had a friend. I was dating this girl, and like I said, I came out in high school, but I came out to like conditioning now at the time. And then obviously I'm in the ins and loops, and now obviously coming out in like today's day and age, especially back then, it was like a no-go thing. Like, I mean, it was a no-go thing. Parents weren't willing to open like minds and eyes and whatnot. So I met this girl and then we were dating. But back then I was still referring to my dead name. And then I think maybe 3 months into dating, I like officially came out to her. And I was like, you know what, I identify as this and I want to go by this. I want to start going out by this. And luckily enough, she was also that time in the picture as well. Luckily enough, I had them there to support me throughout the whole thing. And, you know, introducing myself as Cailin, I mean, it was still an adjustment to everyone, but I mean, they would still go out of their way to still correct everyone, to be like, yeah, no, his name is Cailin now, please stop like referring to him to that. So I mean, I was lucky enough to have that support, because they say before you medically transition, you need to be fully out and about for 2 years with your name, to show how serious you are about transitioning, because a lot of people transition and then they detransition, because then they realize that this is not for them. So yeah. I mean, I see quite a lot of people, like, not quite a lot of people, I've seen like quite a few people on Instagram who went years on like the hormone treatment, whatnot. And then some decide that they want to detransition because they want to go back to how they used to look. And then some people also say that they did everything to make themselves feel comfortable in the body that they wanted. So I mean, some will go for top surgery, some will go for bottom surgery. People go through that lens to feel comfortable in their own skin. But then, like you said, I think they realized it was never that issue. But at the same time, I can't say look down on people who detransition or can't take them seriously, because everyone's journey is different. And like I said, like I'm saying, I think they say gender or sexuality is very fluid. So you can't really stick with one thing. Like, a lot of people's minds change, but I wish people thought more into it, because that's why the medical faculties or like health places don't take transgender people seriously, because surgeries aren't covered by medical aid and whatnot, so it comes out of the pocket. Because I actually read an article back then where a lot of people, where surgeries were actually being covered by medical aid, but because a lot of people weren't taking it seriously, that's why they removed it from medical aid. So now people have to struggle. Like, you get people who are literally working a lot of jobs trying to get to that body that they want, to feel comfortable in their own skin. And it's almost like if people somewhat could have just taken it a bit more seriously, not a lot of people would have to suffer like that, if that makes sense. But it's to each their own, if I can really put it that way. I haven't been in that position myself yet. But yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, there was a time when Angelina Jolie was putting a child on puberty blockers because the child was also questioning their sexuality and whatnot. I mean, I agreed with that, but I do think like maybe in their teens, like maybe when they're 13 or 14 or so. Because I mean, yes, like I said, yes, we are curious when we are young, but then what if you wake up one day and realize this is not what you wanted, but then really from a young age you made the decision. So I feel like when you're 13 or 14, even 16, I would say, maybe around about there. Yeah, like that's what I agree with. Like, I agree with the way they're being supportive at a young age, but I don't think they should let them go on hormone therapy so young. Because I mean, it's like how they say normally people after puberty know, like probably, well, like this is really what I don't like, or this is what I like. Because what happens if you grow up and you were like thinking, yeah, no, this is what I wanted to do, and then when you grow like a nice rack, if I can put it that way, and you look very beautiful when you're femme, and then you're like, damn, kind of wish I can stay like this now. So I just think we need to go through that stage in our life where we go through puberty, where we actually see for ourselves whether we like it or not. Because that's how normally people's minds change. Yeah. Yo, now I'm gonna have to think back to my days at Birdcage. Birdcage was a gay club, just outside of Bloem a bit. I mean, I met quite a lot of gay men there, lesbians. I mean, that's mainly what it consisted of. And I remember they also expressing how difficult for them it is to actually to find someone to spend like a life with in Bloem. Because not everyone is out and about, and people judge upon people's like who they love, you know, their love choices. So I could relate to the part where they feel misunderstood. But then sometimes some of them are just, I don't want to be rude for saying, but some of them are just sometimes full of shit as well. Because I mean, I even came across this lesbian couple when I was still dating my ex, and they told me and my ex still that, you know, sometimes don't get yourself too involved with like the community, because not all of them are like good people, or they have like weird intentions behind it. So at the same time, you're also like cautious and whatnot, because at the same time, the people who I thought I was relating to were the ones who were trying to almost shame me in a sense for for me being who I am. Especially this one guy who's gay and he's starting to become a pastor. You would think he would be supportive through and through, but in a sense it was almost like he was shaming me. He even went out into the point to tell me that I was just a face to my ex, and me and my ex were dating for almost 3 years. So sometimes you don't really get all the support you get from them, but not all of them are bad. So, I mean, there are some people who in the community who are misunderstood and really just want to be understood by someone. But then you get people in the community who have been, I think, hurt by so many people that it changes their perspective, and that's why they're so bleak and like nasty with some people, if I can put it that way. Because at the same time, when I was at Birdcage as well, half of the people I came across were loving people, awesome people, great people, but also the other half of them also felt like they took good enough for us as well. And it's kind of like we shouldn't be having this attitude, because I mean, we're all going through the struggles like together. We're supposed to stand as a united front and help and be there for each other, because I mean, we all know how difficult it is just being ourselves. So yeah, I mean, there were some I could relate to and some who I really couldn't relate to. But yeah. Oh no, oh no ways. No ways. No ways. No. Like I said, me and my ex broke up last year, January. I'm still trying to recover from that stall. You know what? It's actually very difficult, because when you try and pursue, people within your own race, they always want to tell you that you're too white for them. So obviously, I always get called the white boys by my school friends, because I'm only interested into white women. But yeah, that's all I can. Yeah, my preference is white women. I mean, I have had other like relations with other girls from different races, but I guess what always ticked me off was just the whole comment of like, why do you always have to speak like you're too good enough, or like, where's your colored accent, or all these things. And I'm like, nah, it shouldn't have to be like that. So yeah, I guess that's my preference. Yeah, I know I was in love. It was actually, it was like my first long-term relationship. I came out with this girl to my parents, so she was there through it. Even with the family stuff that was going on, she was there. But what was really nice about having her at the time was the fact that we were a team. Having that person that you could experience all these new life experiences with, because she also came out to her dad with me. So we almost came out in the same year together. So it was nice having to experience that life with someone. And the feeling she gave me, it was, all these little butterflies and rainbows, and she did small things to show that she cared. I mean, she would watch Seventh Alarm, and she hates Afrikaans. She used to put on an alarm so that she could wake up and watch Seventh Alarm. But it's nice knowing that someone cares about you. It's very nice feeling like you're worth it and you're loved and all these things. And the fact that someone can even see you in such a great light when you don't even think you're half as great, but they think you're the greatest being under the sun. So love to me also is like it's a beautiful, but it's also a very painful thing. So yeah, it hurts, but it can also make you very happy at the same time. It's like a double-edged sword. It's like, yeah, but it's like eating your favorite packet of sweets, especially after like a long day. It's like just that feeling of excitement and happiness. It's like that. Yeah. I mean, to my brother, he's still adapting. My sister kind of first heard from everyone, like how everyone was referring to me, because she's very observant when it came to my friends. So she was hearing Cailin and he and whatnot. And then when I told her, my sister was like, I was just waiting for you to tell me. I kind of already knew. I was just waiting for you to tell me, and I don't ever want you feeling scared to tell me these things. My mom, on the other hand, is a very old-fashioned lady. Oh, she's old-fashioned. And my dad is, I think me and my dad finally had our breakthrough when he finally realized that, what's it called? I am his child. Like at some point, like I spoke him down and I was like, at the end of the day, I am still your child no matter what. And I mean, he's slowly getting there. I mean, he's willing to put in effort to change, unlike my mom. So I would say my relationship with my dad, my sister, and my brother, I think that's where really the support comes from. But from my mom's side, it's a bit of a mission, that one. But yeah. I just think it's like, it was just like more of a shock for him because I was always like by my dad's hip the whole time. So when when it like all came out to him, he was obviously like taken back. He was like, damn, I thought I knew this child, but he didn't. But I mean, it was pretty obvious. When I cut my hair, they still thought I was straight or whatnot. And I was like, damn. I was like, damn. Okay. And then, yeah, I don't know. They're very old-fashioned, so yeah. But my mom has never been accepting, if I can put it that way. Yeah, even when I was dating my ex, she referred to my ex as my best friend. She never really referred to her as my girlfriend. Even when we called it off because of my mom, my mom still asked, so why did you and that girl stop being best friends? And I was like, okay, we're kind of dating for 3 years. So she'll never get comfortable with me dating a woman and whatnot. She even still said her biggest wish to God is that I marry a man and I go back to how I used to be. So yeah, that's all I can say really. How does that make me feel? I mean, I fought with her about it quite a few times. I told her, you can't be this type of parent. Because I told her, you are being very nasty with me and you're not allowing me to be who I am, and you're not even willing to try and accept me for who I am. But I know when you are going to be experiencing the lowest of lows in your life, I'm going to be the one you run to and call to, because that's what she has always done. And I told my mom it's emotionally exhausting having to fight about this each and every day. And I told her, whether I marry a man or a woman or whatever it is, you're still going to have to accept me regardless. You're still going to have to accept me regardless. Because I told her, it's not nice hearing that your mom is praying almost every night for you to be with a man and to go back to how you were. Almost making you feel like, it's almost like a disease in your eyes. Like it's almost like it's an illness you have, if I can put it that way. So yeah, I mean, I stand my ground this time. My brother has even fought with my mom about it, because my brother was even like to my mom, you need to stop being so like religious about it, if I can put it that way. He was like, I understand you have your beliefs and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it is your child, and this is how you lose your kids one day, and this is how they end up presenting you and whatnot. And I even told my mom, because my sister ordered me these birthday shoes, and it has like the LGBTQI and the rainbow like all over. It's these Vans. And then I was like to my mom, because my sister's actually my mom's sister, but my sister lost both the parents at a young age, so my mom took her in. So I would just always like show it to my mom and be like, look what my sister's getting me. Do you see how supportive she is of me? And I can see it in my mom's face, that she's not really happy with the way that she can't support me. But I know she wants to, but I just know it's her beliefs that play a very big role in everything, because she's very into her religion and whatnot. So yeah. I would say that not everyone has it easy as everyone else, or the same privileges as everyone else. I mean, it's still difficult to get where you are, even if the one parent is on your team. You kind of want both your parents to be on your team no matter what. And the thing is, as much as they're supportive, it's not something that will come out of their own pocket, because religion will also play a big role in it. So not everything is as easy peasy. Sometimes you have to wait a bit longer to get where you need to be, because you need to work or build yourself to get there. So I just wish people could understand that everybody has their own stuff that they're going through in the background, and that not everybody's life is perfect, if that makes sense. Like, everybody's going through something. So it's not as easy as what they make it seem. And also, surgery is also hella expensive as well. They make it seem like it's just like 10 grand and then it's done. It's actually, it's years of saving up to get there, especially considering how top surgery and whatnot falls under cosmetic surgery. So it isn't something that can be paid by medical aid. This has to be something that comes out of your own pocket. So I just wish people could understand that they shouldn't judge without knowing the full story, or without bothering to get to know the full story. So yeah, that's all I can say. I mean, when people actually see me, I mean, obviously if you get your random girls at a public environment, they obviously think you're gonna try and hit on them, but I mean, like, calm down, it's not like that. I'm not even trying to talk to you. But I mean, obviously not everybody's always gonna be a fan of you, especially if they don't know you and whatnot. So I mean, half of the people look at me funny, treat me funny because of how I look. You know, because the first thing that goes through someone's head, especially if you're part of the LGBTQ plus community, is that the first thing they think is that you're trying to hit on them. And that's never the case, but other people think I'm funny, and they're not wrong, I am funny sometimes. And they think I'm a nice person. I mean, I've been told that quite a few times. And yeah, someone actually also said that the energy I give off is very light and bubbly. And I think that's really how it describes me as, because everywhere I go, I'm just happy. I just want to be happy everywhere I go. So I'm never nasty with anyone unless you give me a reason to be. Then I'll be very nasty with you. But I'm nice. I'm always there to try and help, and even be an ear to listen, even if it's some random person crying in the club. So I think that's how I describe myself as. Yeah, someone who's just nice. You know what? There was actually a time where I went to someone's birthday party. My ex at the time got invited, so I went as a +1, and the person who invited her knew exactly what I identified as. And there was this whole thing because my ex was working for the mother who owned the restaurant. So she said, you guys don't have to pay for anything. You guys are more than welcome to dig in, whatnot. And then she still gave us the plate of food. Now, obviously, he was a bit drunk, and he felt, you know how people get when they're drunk. So in that moment, he purposefully started calling me a woman and started calling me by my dead name to try and like jab and point at me. But then I realized the issue doesn't lie with me, the issue lies with you. Yes, it hurts, but I mean, the fact that you have to go to that point to try and make me feel horrible about who I am just says a lot to me more about you than about me, really, because I'm sure of myself. I know who I am. I'm not the one who has to go out of their way to make you feel small or feel like you're not really who you are. So At times, in the beginning, most times it really, really bothered me, but then eventually I just realized it has nothing to do with me. It has something a lot more to do with you. Small-minded people, I guess, if that's the best way I can put it. I think what you guys could do, and I mean, like you said, we should speak for ourselves and not for the community, but for you, I'd like to speak for the community and what they have brought up. I think what would be nice is that to know that if a homophobic attack had to break out in a public environment, that allies or people who, you don't even necessarily have to be an ally, but if you see a homophobic attack happening, just step in, be there, and protect. Because I think that's what we are just generally scared of. The fact that it doesn't feel like we are safe most times. So I mean, just to be there and, you know, educate those around you, even if you don't have much knowledge. Even the little bit of knowledge that you have could help someone in the long run. So I think what we really seek from other people is just support, and to feel like if stuff had to go south, then you wouldn't turn a blind eye, but you'd rather step in. Like, for example, we used to work at a restaurant together. She could have turned a blind eye because our managers didn't really understand my life choices and they had a big problem with it. She could have turned a blind eye and was like, you know what, none of my issue, this is Cailin stuff. But she stepped in and was like, you know what, this has nothing to do with you. This is how it goes, as either deal with it or just keep quiet. So I think that's what people really want, is someone who speak for them, really. And yeah, I think this is actually a pretty cool idea what you guys are doing. Yeah, that's all I can think of, really. What would it be now? I mean, right now I don't really think for myself. I just think of everyone around me. I just wish the world could just be a lot happier than what it is, because I feel like there's a lot of misery right now. And if my one wish could be, is just that every individual, including myself, can be happy in life. That's all I really want, yeah. You must just do what makes you happy, man. You must just do what makes you happy, and really don't bother yourself with what other people have to say or think, even if it comes from family. Because at the end of the day, you are the one who has to move forward and whatnot. And you know what? Yes, it is a difficult thing, but there are always people around who want to help. And that's something I wish I realized very early on in my life. So yeah, just do what makes you happy. Don't let anyone stop you from being the best you. That's really all I can say. Yeah. And that people must also walk kindly, because you really don't know who needs it as well. The world could do a lot more with some kindness. So yeah.
Thanks a lot, Cailin.
No problem. No problem.